What's going on, everybody? Cobra here. Sorry for the long break in the videos, but we're back today with episode 2 of the Linux gaming journey. Today's episode, I wanted to help you pick your first distro specifically for gaming. Picking your first distro for gaming can be very daunting, as I and many others have talked about in videos that there's an overwhelming amount of distros, and it can be daunting to pick one. I mean, looking here at Distro Watch, which gives news and stuff on different distros, there's 100 that they have listed here of the top 100 that are page rankings and stuff, yet there's oodles and oodles and oodles more, probably thousands more of different distros. It can be very hard to pick one and, commit to it and that kind of thing. I always like to preface these kind of videos with a little bit of a caveat. Distros are essentially just a starting point. You can make any distro, just about any distro, look and act pretty much like any other, with a few exceptions, of course. This is about getting started for a brand new person, being as pain-free as possible for a brand new user. I have just a couple of rules when it comes to picking these. Number one is that it needs to be relatively popular, like it's not anything that's like super super niche. That way, if you run into any issues, you can have some help. Also, there will usually be like discords, communities, and stuff like that where you can get help if needed. Number two is that it must have a graphical installer. Most distros now have a graphical installer, however, there are some that don't. So I just wanted to make sure that the distros I'm recommending do have graphical installers. Now, when I sit and think, I believe that there's generally about 4 different types of users when it comes to gaming on Linux. Number one, the user has a top to mid-range gaming PC, fairly new hardware, roughly about 5 to 8 years old or newer, and they want a distro primarily for gaming and gaming only. So for those people, generally on their computer they might browse the web a little bit, but they're primarily going to be gaming. They're not going to be doing any like development work or schoolwork and things like that. You can do stuff like that on gaming distros. However, this is what they want to use their PC for. Type number two is that somebody who has a roughly similar PC, maybe they're a bit more technical, they want a general purpose distro. They don't want something specifically made for gaming. They want to try to build it out themselves, learn more about Linux and that kind of stuff. User number three, somebody that has an older system. Maybe they want like super, super stable bases to build their system on. They want to pick up and go without any hassle, not have to worry about updates and that kind of thing. There's a lot of people out there on Linux like that, trust me. And number four is maybe somebody who wants like a Steam machine like or like a console like experience. They want to hook it up to a TV, sit on the couch, play with friends, play with their kids, whatever it may be, right? So I have a few distro recommendations for each type of user. So going into number one, and these are in no particular order or anything. For the first type, the top mid-range gaming PC, primarily for gaming and gaming only, I have 4 distros to recommend. Number one would be Nobara. So Nobara Linux is run, this was started by Glorious Eggroll. He's the one that makes one of the custom versions of Proton. He does a fantastic job. Everything's set up for you out of the box in these distros. You're ready to go. I've used Nobara for a little while. It runs great. Performance is great. No issues whatsoever. Number two is going to be Kashi. Kashi OS is probably one of the newer guys on the block, I guess you could say. It's built off of Arch. I've used it for a little bit. It runs great. People rant and rave over Kashi now. They love Kashi. You can't really go wrong with it. They have a lot of great optimizations. Runs great. Number three is going to be Pika OS. Pika OS is very similar to Kashi and Nobara. Like all these gaming ones, they're all kind of similar. But Pika is built off of Debian SID, so it's the Debian base, but more of the like up-to-date packages, and they build some of their own like kind of custom stuff in there. Um, However, I used Pika for a while. It runs great. You know, if you like the look and feel of it, go for it. Give it a try. And finally would be Bazite. So Bazite is also kind of one of the newer ones on the block. It's an immutable system, meaning it's harder for you to mess stuff up, so to speak, as a new user. I know a lot of people that really like the way that immutable systems operate because of that. I myself am not a big fan of it, but I like to tinker and mess stuff up and break stuff, so that's just me. But any one of these four, if you want to install the distro, log in, like Steam and everything is already going to be there. A lot of times there's extra tweaks and performances to help you with gaming and stuff like that right out of the box. You will be good on any one of these four distros. Moving on to option 2, the person that wants a general purpose distro, maybe they're a bit more technical, that kind of thing. I have 2 general recommendations for you out of the box. Number 1 is going to be OpenSUSE Tumbleweed. I love Tumbleweed. This is the one that I use. I've used it now for a full time for a little over a year. I bounced around for a while. Tumbleweed's great. I have a few other videos showing you how to go into Tumbleweed, set it up, get it ready for gaming, that kind of thing. And the second recommendation is going to be Fedora. Fedora is a great distro as well. Both Nobara and Bazite that I mentioned earlier are actually built off of Fedora. Huge community. Fedora is one of the most used distros out there. Can run into some kind of randomness when it comes to NVIDIA drivers. However, there's some things that you can get working, some things you can't. With any of the general purpose distros, your mileage may kind of vary. But the other one that I would kind of throw in there too would be Arch, vanilla Arch Linux. However, Arch does not have a graphical installer, so it kind of breaks one of the rules. But if you are really wanting to learn and dig deep into the weeds when it comes to Linux, I would recommend looking into Arch or one of these other 2. You will learn a crap ton about how your system is, how to set it up, all that kinds of stuff. For the third type, the older system wants super stability. I have 3 more recommendations for those type. The first one is going to be OpenSUSE Leap. So it's run by the same people that run Tumbleweed. However, with Leap, it is essentially their LTS version. It's the closest representation to SUSE Enterprise Linux. Very stable kernel, very stable packages, that kind of thing. Next one is going to be Linux Mint. If you've been around any type of like new user distro videos for a while, Linux Mint is one that's recommended to pretty much everybody. I have a buddy, the buddy who actually got me into Linux, runs Linux Mint, and that's all he's ever ran. He loves it. He just never used anything else. And last but not least is going to be Ubuntu LTS. I know people in the Linux ecosystem love to feel some type of way about Ubuntu, but I have to name it because, you know, at the end of the day, it's still a great distro. It's very stable for the most part. And there's going to be a lot of help out there for it. When it comes to help in forums and popularity, Ubuntu is going to be up there when it comes to that. There's numerous forums and articles and, you know, different help things that you can find when it comes to Ubuntu. Last but not least, the people who want a Steam machine-like or console-like experience, and you could even kind of throw in there maybe a handheld experience, like they just bought a Steam Deck and they want to put something different other than Steam OS on there. So going back to the a couple of original ones that I mentioned, so Nobara actually has one. They have a handheld one and a HTPC version. Same with Kashi and Bazite. So if you've looked at any of those for desktop use and you like it, maybe you can also use them for one of those type experiences. One final thing I will say when it comes to picking and just getting into the Linux ecosystem in general, it can be very daunting, as I mentioned, but ask questions, find some different communities that you enjoy. There's going to be bad eggs out there, of course, but almost any community, you're going to find some good people to answer questions, help you along the way. It's the internet. You're gonna get your mileage may vary, as they say, right? But anyways, thanks so much for watching. This was a short one. The next one, I'm gonna pick one and take you through and show you exactly how to get one of these gaming distros set up and ready to go. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.